Hello there, this is a video about fixing the jack that's broken on this 4MS Listen. I've had the same problem before on the left jack, but now the right jack's broken. And when I inspected the jack, I could see that the metal inside it, where it should make a connection to 3.5mm patch cables, doesn't make a connection anymore. Part of it actually is broken off, so it gets kind of loose and then it breaks. I thought I'd make a video about it just to show you, if you've never repaired a Eurorack module, that perhaps you can. Perhaps it's not as difficult as it seems. So hopefully it'll give you the inspiration to get out a soldering iron and try it yourself. Once you've taken all the nuts off, the faceplate should slide off pretty easily, but you'll notice this one has some light pipes, so you have to be a little bit careful not to knock any of those. They're kind of a cool design detail though, I quite like that about this module. And here I'm taking it off and you can see the light pipes. I think it's quite cool, I think. Anyway, let's put that down, and I'm just inspecting the back of the PCB because I want to remember which solder points I've got to remove. I'll go and get my desoldering gun, and the kind of desoldering gun I use is an all-in-one unit, so what you see here is the entire thing. It just plugs straight into the mains, and it heats up pretty quickly as well, so I'm just going to plug it in now and knock everything over. Then I don't need to apply any solder here to help it desolder because this module is only, say, 4 or 5 years old. There's no signs of corrosion on the solder points, so it'll be really easy to desolder it. And all I have to do is just line it up, heat the solder, press the vacuum pump, boom, it's done. I'm just putting that down carefully because obviously the tip's very hot, the whole piece of metal at the end's hot. And then I'm easing off the jack and it comes straight off, that's it, no extra desoldering required. And I've put an X on it because it helps me remember what parts are faulty that I probably can't reuse and have to put into e-waste. Once that's done, it's time to get the soldering iron set up, and I have a fresh jack here. It should be fine for this. The only problem I had with this is I don't have any helping hands anymore, so because of the long potentiometers on the module, it's a bit hard to hold it and solder. So I'm just working out a way to keep the jack in while I solder the first joint, and what I decided to do was just tack it. So I'm going to use a little bit of solder on the iron and just tack it down, and then once it's held, I'll add a little bit more solder and push it at the same time to make sure it's flush against the PCB. Because if you don't get it flush, the PCB won't fit on properly. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just easing it on, getting into a better position. Then I'll reflow it and push from the other side, just gently, just to make sure it's flush. And you could do this with a cheap soldering iron. You don't need this kind of expensive temperature controlled one I've got. It doesn't really make this job any easier. It's just 3 joints. You just need probably decent solder with flux. And this is it, pretty much done now. reflying that joint because it didn't look quite right. They have to be the right shape and they have to be nice and shiny as well, so keep an eye out for that. There we go, powering everything down, and I'm just going to get some IPA to clean off any flux residue. And in this case, it was quite easy to clean it. I'm using some cotton buds there that are synthetic ones. They don't leave any little pieces of fluff behind. Now it's time to reassemble. So let's see if it lines up with the jack properly. If I didn't get it wonky at all, it looks okay to me. And then when I put the screws on, I just like to do opposites. So if I put this potentiometer nut on here, I'll put another nut on the opposite side of the board, just so there's no stressing on the PCB or the faceplate. And with the nuts on, I've put the knobs on there, and it's kind of good if you use one eye and look at the screen printing on the faceplate and just line it up with the line on the knob just to get it right. I've already got some loops in the Instro module there and Morphogene, and I'm going to clear out ER301 and bring all those in to use it just like a mixer, and then layer in some recordings with it and use Blooper as well at the same time, and the Walrus Audio Slow to add some nice soft attacks. The first input part of this, after the 4MS listen, is some of my favourite filter modules. So I have a mono filter module and a stereo one. They're both multi-mode, so I can really use that to shape the guitar sounds quite nicely. Anyway, I can already hear that it's working pretty well, so I'll leave you with this jam. Thanks for watching.